Hello, and welcome everybody to Chalkcast episode number 103. And you're probably wondering to yourself, where the heck is Johnny Boy? Well, we were inspired a little bit by the Luka trade, and we decided to make a trade of our own. So we have a missing box here, and we got our all-star.
So I've always said that the Chalkcasts are just like the Lakers, right? Clearly, that's the part of the trade we're talking about here.
Yeah,
not the Mavericks, right?
We got Luka.
Okay. Just making sure.
You sure he didn't get AD?
Like, I had one caveat. I was like, no Johnny Boy. That's all I cared about. Like, if I was gonna be on Chalkcast, just no Johnny Boy. So I sabotaged his PC. So
yeah, we needed the young up and comer, the guy that's in his prime, the guy that's going to be able to get us to some rings, get us to some championships. We had to get rid of the old dog who's he's fallen off a little bit. He's more injury prone, JB. As you can see right now, he is injury prone because we can't get him on the podcast week in, week out. We need someone reliable like Gibbs who's going to show up and going to perform. So I think it's a great transfer move. It's a great trade. But if you are wondering where Johnny is, he's done a classic. I don't know. There's something about his computer that only doesn't work when things are happening, and his computer's fried. So we're going to run it without him.
Yeah, we decided not to do a mobile microphone episode this time around. Thought that would be a better idea. But in replacement, for all episodes in the future, we do have Gibbs now. So welcome, Gibbs, to your first episode of Shotcast. And I just gotta ask, why were you on RLCS absolutely begging to come onto this podcast tonight?
So desperate.
I did not beg. I just said that I think it's kind of odd that you guys have had 103 episodes and I've never been invited. And I get it. I have kids, and I think that rules me out of a lot of things. And people are just like, he has to be busy.
You're busy.
Right?
You're busy.
And I am, and it's already past my bedtime. It is 8:10 p.m. Eastern. I would be in bed right now, like under the covers, getting ready for a nice snooze. But wanted to hang out with you guys, so I called CJ out like on the RLCS show because I figured I could only do it publicly. Because if I did it privately, he's going to talk to Johnny Boy.
You did it during a semi-final of a European regional.
I did it during a semifinal. Like, I'm a new caster. I can make mistakes, right? So
true. I repaid the favor, I thought, by asking you to come on last week. And was this your tax from us not asking you before? Because you said, actually, no, I'm not doing it this week. So
I was like, 102, not good enough. 103, okay.
Yeah, 103 works. Surely you would have been on when we did like the world's did you come on the world's couch when we did a heap of episodes, like on a live? I guess you're on the desk. So
I did the Rizzo watch party.
He stopped by the viewing parties.
Yeah. So I'd be on those, but I was never on Chalkcast proper. And to be fair, like at Worlds and stuff, when I'm on desk, I'm like first in and last out. So even if you did ask me, I'm like, nah, I'm leaving. I'm tired.
True.
So,
I've done a couple of those full desk lands, and it is not fun. Well, it is fun, but it is pretty tiring. So we'll let you off there. We're sorry that it took 103 episodes to get you on. I couldn't believe it when you said it actually during the event. That's why I had to bring it up to the boys. I was like, we need to get this guy on, and had a good time as well, being replaced by JB, because we do have a lot to talk about today, particularly with the format. So if you're a format enjoyer, which is probably why we had to get rid of Johnny, because if we had Johnny as well with format talk, this could have gone for 6 hours. So I think this is a good thing.
Yeah, probably for the best. Before we do talk about format, so I gotta ask Gibbs as well. Sure. You're just a caster now? Like who put you in charge? Like who just gave you the role of the casting reins? And you just took that one over.
So when we were getting our contracts this year, they were just like, hey, do you want to do EU now? And I was like, okay, sure. Like, I love the EU lads. I'll hop on over there. And I knew as soon as that happened that the EU guys are going to be like, nah, everyone's casting. We're going to rotate through. So I was like, all right, this could be terrible. And it honestly wasn't. Like, I'm okay, I guess, at it. I'm not great. I'm not perfect. Like, the one thing I was saying before we went live is, like, I have to focus only on game, right? Like, I'll have my numbers all lined up. But I'm casting with CJ. He's like, hey, Twitch chat, what's going on? Let's see what the copy pasta is while the game's happening. I'm like, I can't look at anything else. I got to look only at the game right now. Eventually, maybe I'll get there. But for now, I'm just focused only on the game.
Well, I think I like how you said as soon as you came over to EU, you knew you had to cast. Over on the EU side, we're like, you're going to come over here, you're going to pull your weight. We're not going to have none of these desk nonsense coming on for 2 minutes and then pretending like you've worked. So it's been fun though. I think you've really taken to it like a duck to water, I'd say, with the casting. The boys have enjoyed it. Have you surprised yourself with, well, I mean, surely you knew you were going to be good at casting. You've been around here for forever, no?
No. I thought I was gonna be terrible at casting, honestly. Like way back, RLCS season 1, we all get flown out. We're doing our first rehearsals. The only reason why I was on desk necessarily was because I was just awful at casting. I did not know how to cast.
Was that like a self-proclaimed I'm terrible at casting, or was somebody else like, yo, this guy's ass?
I'm pretty sure Golden Boy was like, you seem like a good desk guy. Like after the first time trying to cast. And I was like, I think you're right. So then that's kind of where I lived forever. And I honestly like doing that because I like the role of like a mainstay on a desk. I think it helps like the show out. But for online shows, I think they are a little bit different. They're a little bit more casual. So it's fun to get into the casting booth and play around. But I didn't think I was going to be all that good. I still don't think I'm perfect, obviously. I'm nowhere near that. But, we're having fun. And I bring my own little twist to it. I bring, my Gibbs numbers and stuff like that. So I'm not going to try and change to what other guys are doing. I just kind of do my own thing.
He's bringing the Gibbs numbers. And I just realized as well, this is the first episode. Now that JB's out, we can say this, Rizzo. First time we've had an entire team of retired professionals. Pretty cool.
True.
Just the retired boys. 3 retired.
Do I count?
Oh, of course you count.
What?
How do you not count? You were on the best team in the world at one point.
Seriously.
Yes, best team in North America, at least.
It wasn't RLCS, but sure. I'll take it. Retired.
I think everyone sees you as a retired pro. Well, come on, chat. Agreed with us. One in chat. You were one of the first people I watched back in the day when you streamed because, like, it was kind of like watching the Kronovi POV from a drone. That's
really what it was.
I watched you because I wanted to watch Kronovi, but he didn't. Well, he sometimes streamed Cam Gears, but it was like I got to see what he was doing downfield somewhere. He was like a little fly down the end while I watched him.
Yeah, like it was like a front row seat, right? You were just courtside watching Crow do his thing. I loved it because Crow was so lazy back then. He didn't stream, he didn't do YouTube, and I was like, sweet. If people want to watch Crow, they're gonna have to watch it through me most of the time. So that kind of helped me, catapult up a little bit on those ratings. So that definitely helped. It also helped that like he carried the team as well to being the best in the world because I was just sitting back watching everything unfold.
I don't want to. Now we got into this, open this can of worms. I don't want to like bring back bad memories, but like, why'd you like step down? Like, why'd you stop competing?
So it's like it wasn't a bad memory or anything like that. Like okay. I always knew when it was RLCS was coming, big money was coming. Like I'm third best on our team. I know I'm going to be the first cut, right? But that's not why I quit. I quit because my wife is pregnant with our first kid, and I was like, clearly I'm not going to be able to put in the time when big money gets involved. So I think Crow and Sad were the first people to know outside of my family and like close friends that my wife was pregnant. And so we had like a deep conversation. I was like, hey guys, this will be my last tournament. When this wraps up, then we're done and all that.
Were they like, no, or were they like, thank God?
Oh, I bet in the back of Crow's mind, it's like, thank God I didn't have kids.
But well, hang on. But you say you're the third best, but you had a specialist role on that team that you were the best at. You guys invented positions in Rocket League before they went away.
I don't think I've said this publicly ever, and I'm going to say this now. I'm not going to lie. There was 2 times when I couldn't make a tournament. One time I was on like a cruise. Another time I was in like Florida. Both times, I think one time Kyle Mask was on the team for me. One time it was A-Money. Both times they lost miserably and they like bounced out earlier than they normally would or whatever. I think it was a league play match for A-Money. I got to say, I was kind of happy. Not going to lie because I was like, oh, I am valuable. I am actually valuable. So that was a nice surprise when they couldn't carry without me for at least a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you locked down the back third. Actually, not even the back third. You locked down the net. Like you didn't leave the net. But you were seriously, back in the day, you were a ridiculously good goalkeeper. Like you were the best goalkeeper in the world. You were saving everything.
I was. So like, I think we used to do like the ESL weeklies. We went undefeated, by the way, in ESL
Mhm.
weeklies. Never lost. And we would get so bored, I would just start counting how many goals were scored on us throughout the tournament. And if we could keep it under 10, we were happy. And that was after, like 10 matches or whatever it was
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But we were just so bored. It was like an 8-hour day. We each won $25.
Yes, no,
And
that's
I was just like,
insane. The old ESL tournaments, they lasted
Oh,
so
The Go
long
for
for the
Cups.
grand prize of $75.
oh yeah. Good
They were
times,
fun
good
though.
times.
I played in
loved
some
them.
NA ESL cups as well. I queued NA servers back in the day, in like 2015, and a guy asked me to play, and we ran into Air Force 2. Is that called? We Dig
Yep.
Dog and the boys.
Yep.
And this was like, at that point, I thought I was pretty good at the game. Like I was dribbling and stuff. And then I played against those guys who are obviously SARP vets, and I was just like this the whole game. Just like watch it. I was like, what the hell? You can get up there? Like, aerialing? Is that a thing? That was when I discovered that there was levels to it. But yeah, as I was saying, I think what you probably don't appreciate about your own gameplay back in the day, Gibbs, because I watched a lot of your tournament runs. I think you were a calming presence as well on the team. I think that your mindset, your mental, it kind of just felt like you always had it. Like it was fine. You were locked in. While the boys were panicking, you were just, I got this. We're chilling. And then you just grab your boost, go about your day, back into net. We're all good. Like that's what you want on a team.
Just going around. Like I think there was a little bit of that. Like I think at times it was like Crow would get frustrated at Sad or something. And if that happened a little bit too much, then it'd be like Sad would kind of like quiet down and not calm as much. So I was like trying to be the morale booster on the team, like throughout all
This
of it.
is so funny of like early Rocket League. Like,
Oh yeah. So I was like, all right, guys, we got this. It's fine. The one thing that was nice was the final tournament we were in. I finally started rotating up the field more. And I had one game where I scored 5 goals in a game.
I remember that game.
It was DFH Snow Day as well, I think, on the map. And I was like, see, guys, I can score if you just allow me to move up the field. So that was good because that was always my favorite moments was when one of them got demoed. I can move upfield because I knew they were responding back. I was like, here we go. Here's my chance. I would, maybe score once every 10 games, but hey, I'll take it.
get one
Even
touch
that
and
game,
then
though,
run back.
Run back, get back.
It kind of felt in that game though, they were still like, yeah, well done, but get back to where, go back home, boy. Like, get back there. Don't think about coming over again. But no, I think I think at some point you have to say you're on the best team in the world. Obviously, there was no international lands sort of thing back then, but you guys dominated. Like you were on one of the most dominant teams in Rocket League history, albeit it was the very start of the game. You have to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, for sure. The first time we played Flipside, we beat them as well. Mike Rule says that loss hurt more than RLCS World Championship loss as well. He was so pissed, he said, after that loss. But yeah, like I think it was good because I think a lot of the things I brought to the table, at least in terms of like YouTube and stuff, was like, hey guys, I can't do what Crow does, but I'm still a very high ranked player, right? Like at the time during the alpha and betas, I was ranked number 2 behind Crow, and it was like, I can't do any of this, but here's how you can play by not doing this, right? And if you do learn that, great, but you don't need it, right?
I wonder,
I think that's how I play still. So
I want because like people talk about like Squishy going off the ceiling as being like a pioneer of ceiling shots, flipper sets, and all that stuff. I wonder how many people you inspire to actually just go in the back of net and sit there, and like people studying like your double jumps. It's like, oh, so he moves slightly left here and then presses.
How does he get to the
how
does he get the crossbar with the double jump?
Why is my car not going as high? He jumps higher. I wonder how many people you taught the goal keep without knowing.
Probably. Hopefully not too many nowadays, but back then probably, yeah. We probably taught a lot of them, but it was a good time, obviously. But once I was having kids, I was like, I can't keep doing this, so I'm getting out. And then Golden Boy contacted me. He was like, hey, we need like a pro on the desk or whatever cast. And I was like, sure, I'll do this. I don't think I'll be any good at it, but now we're here, 9 years later? So
look at us now. 3 retired pros, now casters. All casters, according to Shopify's website as well. Rizzo is as a retired pro turned caster. So it's pretty cool, Gibbs. Would you have thought back then that, as you said, 2025 now, you'd still be pretty much like full-time in the same esport that you were playing in?
No, I was like a pessimist back then. I was like, all right, we're doing this cool RLCS thing. I'll give it a year. Like, it'll probably be gone, after that. Because back then, also, games were not things that lasted forever, right? Yeah, there was very few of those. There was like a League of Legends and a Dota and Counter-Strike. Besides that, though, it was like your Call of Duties were yearly or whatever. So it's like, I was like, we probably have a year at most. And then I'll go back to normal living. But no, it's lasted this long, and hopefully for many more years to come.
Before we dive into what I really want to talk about is format, it's like I need to scratch that itch. You obviously competed at a high level in Rocket League. You played SARP as well back in the day. Have you had any other games that have been you want to scratch the competitive itch? Have you had any other you want to compete? You still have that competitive you were born to compete. You've had it in you. Do you still have that fire in any other games?
Not anymore, because I just don't have as much time with the kids. But it was funny because when Rocket League came out, I was like, here's my last hurrah, right, in esports. Back in 2006, I'll say.
Damn.
Like, I've had a lot of games where I was ranked very highly in and did very well. 2006, I had to get a lower back surgery, and I was, like, out for a couple months. And I bought Prey on the Xbox 360, I believe it was. I don't know if anyone played that game. It was a multiplayer FPS. You could like walk on walls and go on the ceiling and all this stuff. I was ranked number 1 in that game. I had like 500 games of free for all. I lost 1, and that means I came first every other game. And so then there was one tournament where it was a bunch of like pros from other games. We're like, we're doing this 1v1 tournament. Then they invited me, and they all expected they were just going to destroy me because they were actually good at these games, and they thought I was like a pup star. I came in, I just cleaned them all up. I just destroyed everyone in that tournament. So that was my first like experience. Then I won a couple small things in like Gears of War, Call of Duties, and all that stuff. But I never like tried to do like the Halo MLG stuff because I always knew that was way too much work, and it would just take way too much practice. So I would play in other tournaments and just win money that way. Like, I don't know, like NFL Blitz, when that came out on 360, I was ranked like 3rd in the world. SSX 3, I was ranked like 2, I think was my peak. Killzone 2, I was the best engineer in that game.
Holy shit.
Yeah, this guy's grinding.
Oh my
God. We made it. All right.
This is crazy Gibbs lore.
Yeah, so really quick, Killzone 2, I was so mad. We were in this big, gigantic tournament. That was the biggest tournament in the game. We made it to the top 4 round. One of our teammates got grounded and could not play, so we had to forfeit. And I was so pissed. I was like, I'm never playing with this kid again. I was like, we put in all this work or whatever. Yeah, so I've won some money in other games, and I've been top ranked or close to the top rank in a decent amount of games. But again, that was all in the past, right? Like nowadays, I'm like I'll go onto a multiplayer game for the first week it's out now and do really well. And then when like metas happen, because now with Twitch, I feel like it's a little different too. It's like now there's always metas, and then it just gets boring and stale. Yep. And I like when it's a brand new game and I can get in and get a pretty high rank early. Like even like Overwatch 2. I didn't play Overwatch 1 really at all. Came in, like I didn't hit a high rank. I hit, what was it, Diamond or Platinum or whatever it's called? I don't know. But that's where I was like, I'm good. Like I was playing one of the healer classes that could also DPS, and people got pissed off at me like after a while, even though I was
where are my heals?
Yeah. I think it was like Moira, I think is the name. I don't know. But things like that. Like I'll play a game for the first week, like Marvel Rivals. I got up to a high rank in the first week, and then I was like, I'm good. But that's usually how I do it.
I didn't. Well, I feel like I'd heard about Prey. I think I remember you mentioned that before, at a LAN or something. But I did not realize that your resume. This is further proof. I think that it's not just you didn't just stumble into Rocket League. You had it in. Like, look at Zen. He's top 40 or something. He's a Radiant Valorant player as well, while being number 1 in Rocket League. If you're good at Rock, I think there's a little bit of natural. It's got to be some like natural ability or something that.
I think that's true because there's nothing else like Rocket League, right? So I think the only people that can pick up Rocket League are the ones that are really gifted at like other games usually. And so I think that kind of comes over. I think one time I was playing with Justin in like Fortnite, and this kid was just clipping on everyone.
Same thing with First Killer. Okay. First Killer's really good at Fortnite too.
I was like, what is going on here? But I'm like, oh, it's probably because of that Rocket League itch of like, if you're good at Rocket League, you're going to be good at everything else. So, yeah.
There you go. I didn't realize how far, what the extent of your competitive. I've never won money in another game. I don't think I might have I played a bit of COD at a semi level in Australia, but not. I don't think I ever won money on it. That's Rizzo. Did you ever? What's your?
Well, he's like a Minecraft champion or something, right?
Yeah, you're a world's greatest gamer. We did Gibbs on world's greatest gamer. Now think about it.
Gibbs needs to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's the only other thing I've won money in is World's Greatest, but I think everybody got paid for showing up. So
You're a good gamer at most things as well. Like you know, you can.
I think so. I think I got it in me. I don't know. I just need a little bit of time. I'm a grinder. The thing is, if I'm interested in something, I will sit there and nonstop play. Like if I really want to, I'll do the repetition 10,000 times because it's like, I don't know, it's something that just ticks my brain. Like Trackmania recently has been one I've been into.
Yeah, I've seen
and it's like I'll sit on a map for like 3 hours trying to get like one time or something just because I want to.
I am the complete opposite. I cannot do those time trial games where you have to like fine tune everything. I also hate practicing. That's also why I knew I was not going to be good at Rocket League because I never did free play ever. I just hated it. I would only play ranked. This is why my mechanics are still trash because I just cannot do it. So like I'll be naturally gifted at a game, but besides that, it's like I have to just keep playing, but I can never like practice. I would never do like an aim lab thing or whatever that they're called.
Yeah,
to test my aim. I just can't do it.
I don't know if you guys are the same. You know, it's now that Johnny's on here, we just talk about former pro stuff. But you guys are the same.
It's so freeing. Oh my god, I can speak.
Oh my god, I've got so many questions. Because I competed at a high level in a game, it kind of for me made like general games a little bit less fun. Or at the same time, I struggle to play single player games because I need to know where I'm at. I need the competitive itch.
Yes.
I can only play for so long before going, okay, but how good am I? Like, let's play against someone else. Like this is, I don't know. I think it's just because I've competed professionally that like I struggle now. I used to love single player games, and now I struggle to stick with them because I don't know. I'm just
So one advice I'll give you is try roguelikes more.
I love roguelikes.
Exactly, because so they'll give you something where you start weak and you get more powerful.
I love Slay the Spire.
Could beat the game eventually, right? But if you're very good, you could beat it even earlier. Like I believe is Hades 1. I played the alpha or the beta or whatever it's called, and then I waited for 1.0. And I think after you lose like 4 times, they give you like, oh, you're trying to find your mom. Well, I beat the game on run 2, and so like the story completely broke because it never had that cutscene, and then like after run 4, it finally had the cutscene of like, oh, I'm looking for my mom. Like I've seen my mom like 3 times now. Like what is going on here?
I had breakfast with her.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, but roguelikes are fun for people that like that competitive edge of like, I want to beat it quickly. But,
let me paint a picture real quick because I can't remember the word for this. But imagine you're 15 years old, 12 years old. You're playing Call of Duty, search and destroy. You're in a 1v3 clutch situation. Your heart starts beating out of your chest. What is that called? What is that called? Like adrenaline?
Adrenaline?
Is that adrenaline?
Yeah, adrenaline.
Or like dopamine? Maybe not dopamine in that situation, but like I feel like after I've competed, it is so hard for me to get adrenaline.
That hit. Yeah.
That hit. Yes, exactly. Like I used to get the heart pumping in Call of Duty, but like now nothing does it.
That is one of the things. I was always very nervy when I was playing, like even Rocket League. Like I was nervy. Like I was nervous the entire time. So when people are like playing on LAN nowadays, like I don't get it because I'm like my knees would be shaking like crazy. My final story about me being a great gamer and all that is Gears of War Judgment came out. It was a week later. We went to PAX East, and they decided to have a tournament there. And like I dabbled in Gears of War, but not really anything crazy. So Gears of War Judgment comes out, and I see this random booth, and they're having a tournament. Right? I'm like, sure, I'll sign up. My knees were shaking so much. It was 1v1s. It was insane. Or it was free for all, and then it was a 1v1 final. My knees were crazy, but it was funny because everyone I played was wearing esports gear and jerseys. They were all Gears of War pros. And I dusted all of them, and I won. I won the finals 10-1 in a 1v1, and people were like, "Who is this?" Like, I don't know. And then I just walked out. I was like, "Yeah, I'm good."
I'm with you, Rizzo. Though it's like I still get nervous watching, like watching when we're at LAN, we're watching like it's Game 7 OTS. I'm like, holy shit! Like even when I'm watching now, but I still don't have that, as you said, that hit of like when you're playing, like when you score that winner, when you win, or you win a regional, or just win a big game, big series. That rush, which is what you just can't get that in a single player game. You know what I mean? It's like
Gibbs, did you used to have like adrenaline rushes and like ESLs? Because dude, the early days of ESLs for me, like my heart was like I'm in this round of 32 matchup, and it's like the game is 1-1, and my heart is out of my chest. Did you ever have that?
So I think it was only like we would have 5 hours of boredom, and then we'd play Untethered at some point in the bracket. And then we knew, okay, we actually have to try here. It doesn't matter what round that we randomly got them, but we knew that was our one matchup that mattered. And that's when it would start being a little more nervy. And like I remember, I think one time it was DFH, I'm sorry, not DFH, it was Beckwith Park. We were up 2-1 in like game 3 or whatever it was. I don't remember what it was. But to clinch it, I think Lachinio shot and I made a save and I was like going crazy after because the ball hits the ground or whatever. And it's like those moments are the ones that you remember. Like nowadays, I play Rocket League ranked. I'm like, yeah, whatever, like you don't have those moments anymore, except for like the occasional like great overtime shot or 0-second goal. You'll remember for a week, but you're not going to remember these years later.
Yeah.
That's what like the competition brings out, right? It's like those moments are the ones you won't forget for a very long time.
God, I've never felt so understood. This is crazy.
I want to play single player games, but I also want to play League of Legends and just
No, it
be
doesn't
in
do it.
bronze,
I need a competitive game. Single player games don't do it to me. There's like some stream lore here is about like a month ago. There's a game called Stalker 2.
Yeah.
And I played it on stream for like literally 30 minutes and I was like, guys, I'm so bored, I can't do this. And I instantly refunded it. So my chat always brings up like me playing Stalker 2 as like a joke, basically. Because like I literally cannot do single player games.
It's so hard. Yeah. It's just so hard. And it's like, sure, you could turn up the difficulty, but then it just feels cheesy too, because it's like, oh, they just have infinite health or whatever. It's like, like none of that works. I'm like, no, I want to outsmart the other guy behind his computer, right? At some point.
Yeah, exactly. You want to make somebody else sad because you
outplayed
them.
Cry. Just make them cry. Oh, all right. One last story. I swear. No more.
Somebody cry?
No more.
What the
hell?
more.
I felt so bad. The worst thing I've ever done. Halo 2 is like a game crazy. I don't know if you know what game crazies are. My friend worked there. He's like, oh, we're holding the Halo 2 tournament. All right, sure. Like, I'll go to it. It was free for all. My first round, I played a deaf kid in the first round, and he was like 8 or something like that. And I just destroyed them. Like,
wow, so you're an asshole.
So it was a group of 4, and it was up to 25 kills. The kills were like 25 to like 5 to 2 to 1. I'm not sure what he scored, but his mom like came up to him after and was like, yeah, it's okay or whatever. And I felt
and you said, nice
so
try,
bad.
kid.
I felt so bad, but I was like, I'm here to win, so I'm gonna just go for it. And it was lockout. Like, I just destroyed them all.
Because he can't hear you.
I felt so bad. Yeah,
oh, Gibbs, you're a prick. Oh my goodness.
I mean, hey, he signed up. He signed up. All right.
He did. Yeah, I guess he did sign up.
GFFB. Oh my goodness. That's good. This all time up. I can't believe we need to get Gibbs on more often. Get rid of JB. This is fantastic. All right, shall we chat some RLCS?
Yeah, talk to me about it, CJ.
All right, so let's start talking. We've obviously got our final regionals coming up. EU this weekend. We've got NA next weekend. And part of that is, the groups have been announced for EU, obviously, is that starts this weekend. Gibbs has recently, you've made a YouTube video yesterday.
Sure.
Stating about the new format. Now, this has been a topic that we have been all over on Shortcast. The Bruno Buccholz Bartholomew Swiss
good old Bucky
seeding system that Speed actually Gibbs has said he's best friends with him because they get the luckiest runs ever.
Okay. So
on the
so
NA
he
side
likes
of things.
it.
He loves it. He absolutely loves it. They beat no one to get to a top 4 or a top 6, whatever they got.
There you go. Okay.
But it has caused some quite skewed groups. You want to kind of dive into what's going on there?
Sure. So the EU groups, Group A is Halo 2 Gibbs. Group B is the Deaf Kid. That's basically
hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby.
That's basically what it's at right now.
There you go, Rizzo. Oh my god.
This guy's a fucking animal. Oh my god, we just found our 4th coast.
I'm done. All right. Anyway,
it's true. Let's go. Hang on. One side we've got K-Corp, Vitality, NIP, Channel Mates, and GK. On the other side, Start Point. I don't even know. You could say Dignitas, 100%. kind of your teams
Yeah, we've
on
done
the other
cheering, we've
side.
done
So
everything.
it's pretty true. But how do we keep getting these situations?
All right, so let's go over it here real quick, okay? So Bucky is not the problem here, right? Like, I don't like Buccholz. We can talk about that, like, if we want. I know there's a few Redditors that love Buccholz. I think the old system was better. We can talk about that later if we want to. But it's basically just because we have two Swisses that lead into groups. When there's one upset in any of these, it's going to move everyone around, right? And then because there's two groups, everyone's going to split into it. The main issue is what I believe happened was they're like, hey, we love this like upper bracket, lower bracket, top 8 thing. But in Swiss, it's hard to get your top 4 and bottom 4, right? We did that World Championship tiebreaker thing that was just clunky where we had all these tiebreakers. So, like, well, a cleaner way to do it is just do double elim. While that is cleaner, just double elim, that's only 2 wins to top 6. And that's just one less win, which exponentially makes it a lot easier to make it to top 6 based on whoever's in your group, right? Like if you need to get 2 wins, you have to be better. So you have to be the best of 4 teams. If you need 3 wins, you have to be the best of 8 teams. It just exponentially increases. So because we do double elim and because the way it is seeded based on a thing that the old way of doing things is like, all right, we do a Swiss. They don't seed very well. We're going to throw you into these brackets. We're going to get lopsided groups, right? It's just the way it is. But I think the main problem is just because we do double elim groups. And it's just because you only have to be the best of the, it's like of that 4-team group instead of being the best of 8 teams to make a top 6 run. So I think that is the main issue there.
And it seems like it's not just lopsided groups, as you said. It is really it is ridiculously lopsided. Is what we're getting right now.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
like the luck of the draw, really.
Yeah.
But, and again, Vitality is to blame for a lot of that. They lost their round 1 game last time around, so it's like, and then with Buccholz, it also maybe plays a factor of like what seed they'll be. They got seed 4 with a pretty high game differential, I believe. Yeah, so their game differential was incredibly high. They lost 2-3, then they won 3-0, 3-1, 3-0. So clearly, like Vitality's a good team, right? Very high game differential. They actually still would have been 4 though in this case because Redemption went 3-0, 2-3, 3-0, 3-0. So that wouldn't have changed anything here. But generally speaking, like with Buccholz, there's less control as well for the players because no matter what you do, like in your games, it's all about who you played, and you don't choose that. So you're kind of just like, I hope the team I just played does well later because that will help me. And I think that's kind of my main issue there. But it really is just because it's double elim groups, and I think we could go back to Swiss for a top 16 and then just do like a 4-5 tiebreaker, right? And I think most players would be fine with that, of giving the 3 seed the upper bracket of whatever tiebreaker it is, and just making 4 or 5 play an extra round because they're all still technically in that upper bracket, right? Like 4 or 5 would just be 1 round earlier, and if you lose, then you drop down. So I don't know. That's how I fix it.
I mean, we spoke about just with the Buccholz side of things. You know, Rizzo, you said it off stream. Like it seems still like I understand it's not terrible, but I just don't like, as Rizzo was saying, you know, you can go 9-0 and still not be the number one. Like a team can go 9-5 and have a better Buccholz score than you going 9-0. And I understand that they might have played harder opponents, but you know, if you're a Furia,
you don't control that.
What more can you do than go 9-0 in groups and then still not be number 1 seed? That doesn't seem. I don't love that because I'm sure they would have preferred to play harder opponents if it meant they could have got number 1 seed. Sure. But as you said, you can't control who you play, so I don't like that side of things.
Yeah, I think game differential, like the one beautiful thing about Rocket League is you're playing a best of 5 where every single 5-minute game, a team is trying to win. You can get the relative power of a team based on if they 3-0 someone versus a 3-2. Of course, Rocket League is a random game and people drop games all the time. So there will still be some randomness in there where like, oh, if K-Corp was the only one to 3-2, they're going to go into round 2 as the 8th seed, right? And they're going to play the top dogs like Vitality in round 2. That can still happen, but at least like you then know, hey, Vitality, you did what you needed to do. It's just because K-Corp didn't. And sure, you can't control that, but you can at least see that on paper and kind of get like, oh, that's why we're playing them. Right now, it's basically how it works in Buccholz is round one, you play, seed 1 plays seed 9, so it changes things up a little bit there, which that already I'm not a huge fan of because as we saw when the major came out for that announcement, like NA1 has a harder matchup than NA3, right? Because NA3 gets like APAC or something like that. So that already brings some faults. But basically, when you get to like round 3, the only thing that matters is who you played in round 1 and what they did in round 2. Round 2 does not matter at all because all the teams are the same and you beat the team. So say there's 4 2-0 teams. In round 2, you all played someone that is now 1-1, right?
Yeah, so there's no metric. Yeah,
So, so all that matters is what the team that you played in round 1, what they did in round 2 in their 0-1 round.
Did they win
and
round
it's
2?
like,
Yeah.
why does that matter? Like that matters way less than game differential, like in my opinion. And I get, sure, game differential is a little bit random in itself, but if someone does go 3-0, 3-0, and another team goes 3-0, 3-0, like in OCE that happened in the first Open, they wound up playing each other. It was Oi Oi and Wildcard.
Well,
and they're both like, why are we playing each other? We are both perfect on the day. We should not be playing each other. And so things like that happen.
why would you say game differential is random in itself? Or it could be random?
It's a little random in terms of like Rocket League in itself. It's like teams will drop games to anyone, right? Like at some point. So there is some randomness in there because, people are just going to drop games because Rocket League is not like, oh, if you're the best team, no one expects you to 4-0. Generally, you expect teams to go like 4-1, 4-2, or whatever. So
it's still on you though, more than a random, metric. Which
exactly. Like you're punished for that loss. Now, the games don't matter at all. Like if you win in 5 or you win in 3, does not matter at all. And I'm not a big fan of that because I would rather every game matter to all these teams. And I think there is some arguments where they were like, oh, but it's better to lose round 1, 2, 3 than to actually win round 1, 3, 2. And like, I probably have to look up more data for that. But I did look up the teams that advanced that lost in round 1, and it was exactly the same from RLCS 24 in EU and NA as it is now in 25. And that is completely different too, because back in RLCS 24, it was all the top teams, so you expect them all to be closer. Now it's a top 32. So you expect the teams that lose in round 1 to not make it more often, but that's not the case. Like right now, it's almost like identical. So like, I think there's some negatives to old formats, but everyone always complains about the format that you currently have, right?
Yeah.
And everyone thinks that the format that you're not using is better. And that's just how it always is. And like, I was always against Buccholz when people were talking about it. There was a Reddit thread from like 2 years ago where me and this one guy just went at it for a little while about like,
it was
like,
the kid.
Like I wrote more then than I've wrote in a long time.
Kid.
The damn kid. He was blind, and it was but we went over it, and it was like, there's some good points here, but I think there's some like counterpoints why it doesn't work. And like I think you have to use a format to figure out its flaws for most of the general public. And to go back real quick to the double elim side versus just going back to like a 3 wins is the general public sees that bracket for Dignitas, right? And they see that for a week. And they're like, they know Dignitas has an easy bracket for a week. But if they played in Swiss and they got an easy run, they see that for only 12 hours, right? And then we move on. So there is also just a thing about the general public just doesn't see it. And obviously that is random. That can only happen if certain things happen or whatever. But you won't get the public backlash on that because there's just no time to do it. Which I think does play a factor like in these formats. Because as you can see, there's a lot of negativity online in general nowadays. So there is that public backlash of like, well, we know they have an easy bracket for a full week compared to they got a lucky run through Swiss. It happens, because this one team got an upset win or whatever. But no one cares about that when you can just look at it for a week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you're right in that whatever we change it to, people always complain. But I feel like the general consensus on like Swiss as a whole, people seem like, I think we like Swiss more than just a flat, massive double elim.
So here's my question to the two of you, because you guys both played in this, right? Swiss of like, you have to play 5 matches in a day. Was that too much? Because that's the only thing I could see of them like, we're going to double elim. Now I think the maximum you can play is 4.
Well, if you're good,
matches.
you would just play 3.
Play 3.
That's
I
true.
liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. And probably both of you did that a lot.
Usually just played 3.
So like I could see
I
that.
don't think 5 is too much. Like
okay.
Surely we've been to round 5 of splits. Yeah, like 5 that's not. Yeah, that's not too much.
Okay. Because I think that would be the only caveat of like, hey, we wanted to reduce the workload on these players in one given day. So we went with double
boo-hoo, poor players. You guys make $1 million a year, dude. Seriously.
Oh my god, I have to play like 3 hours a day. This sucks.
What the hell? God.
20k salary, 5 hours a day. What the hell? Jamie, pull up the bracket again. Let's talk about EU then. I want to get Gibbs' predictions.
Jamie, you seen that clip?
Those groups. Jamie, you seen that clip? Pull up the groups, because obviously we do have a stacked group, but actually, do we have the rankings as well? Jamie, can we pull those up as well? Can we pull up the points? Because it is we got one team through, and we got some competition for our top 4. Obviously, this will decide Birmingham spots. Do you need the link for the rankings, or you got those?
Jamie's got it. He just needs a sec.
Jamie's got it. Sweet. Gibbs, what are your thoughts? What do you see this weekend? You are now an EU talent. You have the finger on the pulse of EU gameplay. Surely you know now, as the chief analyst in Rocket League, who's going to make it.
All right. So upper bracket, obviously K Corp is going to make it. I think Vitality GK is the battle of who's more like a fraud, because GK has done absolutely nothing this entire split. They didn't do anything also at FIFA as well, so they've just been frauds for months now. Vitality last week or whatever it was, 3 weeks ago, they looked like I don't know what was happening. They were just missing random balls. So we'll see if Vitality bounces back. I expect them to some extent. The K Corp advances. Vitality should, because GK, I'm just very down on them right now. It just feels like they can't do anything. Mates, I expect to bounce back. I think Ninjas makes it. So Ninjas should beat Mates, but I could see it's Radisson's time or Radoson's time. You know, it's like, will he be on the team going into split 2? He's going to pop off this tournament. That's what he does. You know, when his job is on the line, he's one of the best players in the world. So Radoson.
Job security Radoson.
Exactly. So he's going to show up. Gentle Mates, I think we'll get the upset on Ninjas, because why not? And move through on that portion. The other side, sure, 100% Dig are probably going to be the teams. I mean, there's not much to say there. You could see something different, because 100% is not, like, I'm not sold on them. I think they can be inconsistent at times. I think they've done well with what they're given, but I could see an upset in that top 4, but Dig should comfortably make it out of that bottom 4.
Yeah. Who's your, I guess 100% on the points is the team that can get in there then? Can you see though, Gentle Mates? You know, what do they need? 20 points is kind of they need a win, don't they?
Gentle Mates, at least grand finals, and then they need other people to have like disaster runs. So Ninjas in Pajamas, like if Gentle Mates got grand finals, that's 10 points. So they would be at 18, I believe, or maybe that's only 9 now because that one's in there. Not really sure. But either way, they're 8 points, or they're 7 points behind Ninjas right now. So if that happens, then Ninjas would have to place outside the top 8, I believe, right? 3 points is 9th, if I'm not mistaken. I believe. Oh no, 3 points might be top 8.
7, 8, yep.
Yeah, so I think that's possible that Ninjas falls out there. And Gentle Mates, I don't think it is possible for them to make it to the finals, but that's probably their best bet, is to hope that Ninjas does that and then make it to the finals through like maybe an easy run somehow. But that would be their best bet. Besides that, though, it's really coming down to 100% if they can outplace the teams above them.
Yeah, like I can see a top 4 100%, 5-6 NIP, and we get a tiebreaker. Might be the only sort of situation there. Just looking at the points, I think Dig's extra 1 point is huge.
That is huge.
Because it's kind of the 2 point gaps up until the top 1. So, okay, yeah, I think top 4 is pretty locked in, but we'll see. 100% have been surprising people so far.
And Ninjas has a harder bracket, right? So 100%, if they come out clean and Ninjas gets upset maybe by Mates, which is very, very plausible, then there's room there. The one thing, and I don't like to bring this up, but I'm not a huge fan of the placement matches, and that means a lot more in Open 3 when you know how many points you need and you know who you need to knock out.
Yep. Yeah.
Because that is an issue. Because I feel like if Ninjas falters and falls down, 100% goes into their placement match if they're in top 4. They know how to get to the that side of the bracket. They won't know exactly at that point because the uppers goes before. But there are cases where that could happen, right? And so I'm not a huge fan of placement matches for that reason. Obviously, all the teams are going to try their hardest. We all know this, so we don't have to worry about
Obviously.
it. But yeah, that's always a problem when there's meaningless matches in things. It was the same in winter groups that we used to do. There were teams that would clinch, and then it's they can kind of do what they want with this group and make some other team advance and all that. So that's always a problem. But.
Well, tune in this weekend. It's going to be exciting. Gibbs will be there.
I will not.
Gibbs will not be there. Actually, that's his weekend off.
But I will be there for one very special thing, CJ. We have a 1v1. We have a score to settle.
We do have a 1v1. It is semi-final time in our caster 1v1s. I'm sure Rizzo's been tuning into the pre-shows to watch those. So tune in. Without giving anything away,
sure.
What a game.
Yes, it'll be on Saturday, I believe, because I think we're saving the other one for when the two guys are on the pre-show for Sunday. So Saturday pre-show, you won't want to miss it. Me versus CJ. He's only been retired, 3 years? I've been retired for 12.
Yeah.
So you would think I have no shot, but we just talked about all my accomplishments.
I would have thought
earlier. I'm just saying. Tune in.
That guy's a gamer. Speaking of EU, not exactly results, but we do have a bit of potential beef coming up for Birmingham with Vatira's tweet. He has thrown out a little bit of bait to see if some boys from MENA will take it. Someone has asked him on Twitter, where would NRG and Falcons place if they were in EU? And he's replied, we got it here. He's replied, he can see an NRG being top 2 or 3. Falcons, top 5, 6. He's got Falcons 5, 6, a team that did beat him at the FIFA E-World Cup. Obviously not with his lineup, but I think that's pretty rough on Falcons. I know they did lose to Rise and Twisted Minds before, but I see them being a top 4 team.
I feel like he's just...
I think they're better than Vitality at the moment.
He's seen the opportunity and he's taken the chance to pounce just because they lost to Twisted Minds. He's like, you know what? Time to start some shit. Here we go, baby.
Yeah,
I'll back them over Dignitas in a best of 7 right now, even though Digs look good.
Sure, of course.
Over most teams, maybe everyone but K-Corp, I'd probably have them. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I would too, because Vitality also doesn't look great at times. You expect them to bounce back on land, but Falcons, so the way I see it is Vatira's I left my former teammate twice, and for good reason, and then he goes and beats you in your region. So that's probably why he's Falcons, nah, you're top 5 or 6. At this point, maybe they are just washed, but Falcons, I expect them to show up on land. I am very high in Falcons. I always have been. So I expect them. If we had to do a major prediction right now, grand finals is K-Corp Falcons, but that's what I would say. Energy is in there, but everyone knows I'm an NA hater. So, I can't really root for
Always
energy,
have been, Gibbs. Always have been.
All right. Really quick. I wanted to bring this
here
up.
We go.
All right?
Here we go.
I wanted to bring
This is why I watched
so Rizzo.
Show. Now he's
Rizzo.
stuck talking shit.
So I was playing a blind kid.
And I'm
pretty sure Rizzo hated me probably for most of his pro career, at least for the first few years, because I think I ragged on you maybe a bit more than most. Is that true?
Are you asking me to confirm that?
Yes. Did you not like my commentary?
No,
about you or your team?
Okay, to be fair, a lot of time. Well, you didn't cast. Okay, so
that's fair. So
the only thing I ever listened back to was the casting a lot of times. So I actually didn't hear most of what you said. So I kind of just heard it third party. Gibbs always talking shit. Gibbs never guesses cheats. All this stuff, mainly from Twitch chat and stuff. So I didn't actually hear what you said. So I would say no, I didn't actually hate you, but I knew you were talking shit.
All right.
I knew summer was happening.
So I do have a question for you though, because say maybe for your first 2 years of play, did you know how to dribble? Because I swear, every time you would put the ball on your hood, you would fake literally every single time. And I was like, I'm pretty sure Rizzo does not know how to flick. I'm pretty sure he has no idea how to do this because I never saw you once go for a flick dribble.
You just flip your car. Yeah, I know
No,
how to do that.
I literally never saw you do anything but fake for the low challenge. Every single time.
And tell me what people are doing today. A pioneer.
He was watching.
I swear, every time I was like, Rizzo literally never tries for any 1v1 move outside of the low 50 challenge.
Okay, well,
the fake for the low 50
whatever
challenge,
you saw, I don't know. You probably have some image in your mind right now. You're talking about this one situation I don't even know about, by the way. So he's a max hating right now.
I swear, I would watch, and I'm like, oh, here he goes again. Rizzo's wide open on a 1v1 opportunity. Guarantee you it's a fake and it's a low challenge. Which, to be fair, you guys were very good at those challenges, and they turned into passes. That's part of the game plan, I assume. But I still, to this day, for the first 2 years of your career, I was always like, I don't think Rizzo knows how to dribble flick. I'm pretty sure he has no idea.
I knew how to dribble. I knew how to dribble flick. It was probably a confidence thing, though, because I didn't play 1v1. So being in a 1v1 situation, I probably just knew how to 50 better or something.
I love that Gibbs is double. He started this conversation like, "Did you not like me when you're playing?" He's like, "Absolutely not."
By the way,
because I hate because you sucked. 2 years I watched you, and you have no mech, you have no talent.
Gibbs, I gotta.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. He had very good talent, but I compared it to my talent. You know,
when
you can't really do a lot.
When you would watch me play, when you would watch me compete. Actually, would you be like, wow, I could have done that? Like, that could have been me.
No. I have more respect for you guys.
Did you watch me on G2 and you're like, why is this guy on the roster?
Yeah, like, Crow, bring me back. Like, what are we doing here? Like, come on. But no, like, I always hated on G2, mostly just for the show. I don't really care. Like, I think probably last Worlds, it was G2 versus BDS. You could see me, like, if people were watching, I was cheering for G2 because I wanted them to win, you know? So it's like, but for the show, I got to hate up. So,
gotta hate up.
just gotta hate up.
That's outrageous.
I have to throw you under the bus a little bit. But.
You know, just when I thought he might have secured his spot as a co-host, he just, you know, I have no problems with him. I have no qualms. But these two might have a little bit of beef going on here, Rizzo.
It goes way back. Unfortunately, I don't think I ever got the chance to compete against you. Because, like, I think I played in those ESLs, but I was, like, losing way too early.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think... Yeah, because you didn't really make your run to, what, season 3? Was when you... Oh, no. I'm sorry. Season 1, you were obviously in because you got rigged and lost to make it. And we had a great airport chat. I do remember that.
Wait, we got rigged and you're talking about the qualifier to the land.
Yeah, World Championship. Yeah.
Yeah, I got rigged.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
They threw the series.
They definitely threw.
They threw the series. Kings of Urban, I think.
Kings of Urban. They had to lose specifically. I think it was 3-2 or something like that.
3-1. 3-1. Whatever.
But yes, that was definitely rigged.
They played the worst Rocket League I've ever seen in my life. They had to lose 3-1 specifically for us not to make the land. Guess what happens? Oh, they're in there. They're just winning nonstop. They're going crazy. Game 1 secured. The next 3 games, oh my god, did these guys drop their controllers? Are they playing with their feet? What is happening? Everybody knew what was going on, but we couldn't put up a stink about it because then we would have got like bullshit back for it. Oh my god. And then we lost the land spot because of it.
Yes, you did. But I do remember season 1. You were there, and then at the airport, I was like 30 gates away, and you walked like 30 gates to come talk to me when we were leaving. And I was like, that was so nice of him.
I did, and I was like, why are you talking shit on the stream?
And then I trashed you for like 2 more years.
I shadowed him for the rest of his career until he's here where he is now.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Yeah, that's wow. I didn't know about that rigging. I mean, I had a bit more of a publicized one with people actually got banned, but I guess you could do more like a few years later.
I think they hit it a little bit better, but based on watching it, I was like, this doesn't look good, but you know, I can't say anything back
This doesn't look like Kings of Urban.
Yeah, this doesn't look great.
These aren't my kings. All right, let's round out with some Patreon questions, should we? I know that Gibbs has a bedtime that he was he's got to get going. Angry with catching late, so I I have one over here, Rizzo, that I've pre-jumped
Okay.
because this has piqued my interest. This is from Big Homie Buzzo, who asks, apparently this is from Lawler. Gibbs, you are the reason that Ranked is in Rocket League. How did you integrate it? Is this true?
Okay. Final story of the night. Gibbs story time for bedtime, I guess. No.
Mm-hmm.
So we were playing the alpha, and Cyanix Thomas, I believe it was. I was good friends with him. We played in SARP, BC. We played in I hosted tournaments back then. We played in a 2v2 like Dev and Pro and all that stuff. And we had a good time, right? So I'm playing with him and Fisho. And he's like, so how do you guys feel about no ranked? Because the first game, SARP had ranked. And that was a big deal. Every game was ranked, I believe it was. And you just had like MMR points and you would move up the list or whatever. So everyone, played that and enjoyed it. And we were like, I'm not sure about that. But I didn't want to say it there, like on a voice call, and like call them out. So the next day, I write this like 2-page letter of like, guys, you need to incorporate rank. That's the only way that this game is gonna like have any interest for people, including myself. Like, if I don't have ranked, what am I supposed to do, right? So this whole like 2-page paper of why like you have to do it. Doing examples of other games that didn't have rank bombed or whatever, and then I get a message back from a different dev, and he's like, "Thank you so much for bringing this up. We talked about it throughout the office, and there's been a divide for the longest time of like people who want ranked and people who don't want ranked."
How would you not want ranked? That's crazy.
Casuals.
Well, I don't know. So we like
Casual
sparked that conversation again throughout the office, I guess, and then they implemented it just before the game came out. I'm not saying necessarily that letter was the spark, but I hope it helped. And then
sounds like it did.
We got ranked.
Wow, I never knew that. Okay, if there was no ranked in Rocket League, this game's dead.
No,
So-
it wouldn't have made it anywhere. We got another question. This one comes from Brendan. He says, does Gibbs think he could get SSL in 2s?
So I actually have been grinding this split or whatever you call it season because I had to practice for CJ's 1v1. So I was like, I can't like not show up to this at all. So I was grinding a little bit more than usual. Last season I didn't do anything, but this season I hit in 2s. I hit Grand Champ 2 again, which I think is pretty good for
in 2s.
In 2s, especially with my mech, because I have 0 mechs and Rizzo has 0 mechs, so this would be perfect.
We're in the same rank, so it makes sense.
There you go. So we could definitely play, but I can't hit SSL. I could hit SSL and Rumble, but that's only if there was enough queues for it. I could definitely do that again, but I can't do it in 2s. I don't think. I think Grand Champ 2 is where I'm probably my peak.
So this Grand Champ 2 is where I belong.
Yeah.
But if you grind it, he's got it in him. We can see it. It's right there. He just needs to get on the grind.
I have played a lot this season.
Got one here from Hooded Mexican. This is more Gibbs being intertwined with the community. Do you feel like the community has any influence on what Epic does, or is it hopeless? Do you think the public, not the backlash, but the comments, the Reddit threads, the tweets, do you think that has any impact on?
I think it does, but I also think there's so many comments, and this happens for the casting team too. Like, but for instance, for people that don't know, like for the casting stuff, like I write our rotations or schedules and all that and plan out who goes where, right? And people bring up the stupidest stuff where they're like, oh, well, this person's not on because of this, or why was this person on so much? And it's like, you don't know. And like for game dev, like most people I would assume have no idea what they're talking about, right? So I think there's a lot of messages that come through, and I bet they read most of them, and they're just probably like, these guys are idiots. Like for the most part, they will take some things and they know things that they would assume are like, oh, the community really wants this. There might be a reason why we can't do it, but we can't go out. Like the one thing I hate is when communities are like, we want you to talk to us more. The last time that they talked to us, we're like, hey, we're going to have a website. The website didn't happen, and it gets ragged on all the time. Right?
So then 4 years later, people be like,
exactly. It gets ragged on.
Website.
Exactly. But
that roadmap is the greatest not event ever. When they release like, this is all the things we're doing. I think they did like one of them.
Yes, and like it is hard, and there are times when you have to hold them accountable. But at the same time, you can understand why the devs don't want to tell you their plans in advance. Because I think there was another plan And this was more game related that just never happened. And it was like, oh, we just thought it wasn't a good idea, like after all the work or whatever. But there was people that were harping on it for a while. They're like, well, you said this was coming or that it might come. Where is it? And it's like, this is why we don't talk to you, because it's just annoying for you guys to bring up every small thing when it's like, it's game dev. It's a huge team of people. Not everything works out. And it's like, yeah. So I think they do listen, but I also think that for the most part, they probably think you're idiots. And that's, I'm not speaking for them. I'm speaking in my own experience.
I feel like
that
that's
sometimes
I
read the comments and I'm like, these people are idiots.
I think that's a general game dev thing and not just like an Epic thing, though. I think it's like if you're with some big corporation like that, like you are going to have because you have other people telling you basically like what you're like. It's not like an indie team. It's not like 3 people or whatever. It's not, it's you're just listening to your higher up. It's like, okay, go make this sort of thing. And I doubt the higher ups even see much of the comments anyway.
So a prime example of this was Call of Duty. They were like, everyone's been harping on them. All the Twitch streamers are like, we hate skill-based matchmaking. And then last year they said, oh, we turned it off. We hid it for some people. And we did tests to see if they would come back and play. And they had all this data and all this stuff. And they're like, no, like every single time we turned it off, those people quit playing the game, or more times than not. Like people were not having fun when there is no skill-based matchmaking. And basically the article was like, you guys are all idiots. We know what we're doing. You just have no clue, right? Because you don't have the data to back it up. And I think that's always been an issue with Rocket League. And it's always an issue with my side of things, I guess, where I'm like, oh, I love weird stuff in Rocket League. Non-standard maps, love them. But the community hates them. Do you know why they added that map preference thing way back in the day? To see if anyone liked non-standard maps. No one liked them, so they got rid of them. And now everyone's like, oh, now this game's so boring. It's the same map every single time. It's like, because the community literally told them that we do not like this. But now,
I think it'd be a little bit different now. I still think they'd get a lot of negativity for it, but I do think the game is at like a point where I could see it in like Rocket League esports. Like I think it could be interesting there. But like everybody was shit back then.
Agree.
Everybody was bad. Yeah, so it was bad like trying to go up a ramp and not figuring out like, why is my car doing this?
And I also think they didn't dole it out in the right way, because the first non-standard map was Wasteland, where the entire ground is curved. Yeah. Which is very difficult to play on. Like even now, it's still difficult to play on. So like they didn't dole it out properly. And I think there is fault there, like on their side. But at the end of the day, like the community does not play this weird stuff. They just don't. And like, yes, I would love if they try again. Like if we ever get this Rocket League 2 or whatever, I would love if they're like, we changed every single map. There's only one normal map. Every map is slightly tweaked. It doesn't even have to be a big tweak. Like one is thinner, one is longer or whatever. That would make me so happy. Like if that ever happened, but I assume it's not, because the community does not like that stuff. And I know that I'm in the like minority. And I think that's always been an issue with content creators. They are the minority. And I get that they make content around the game and they publicize it and all this stuff, but that is a very small percentage of people that play Rocket League. And like, if you appease them, you might lose your entire casual fan base, right? Or something like that. And I'm not saying that that's the example here, but you have to look at it in game dev side. Like they have a lot of data behind like that map preference stuff. And they know that people did not like those non-standard maps. So I could understand, like, even though I was frustrated that they were taken out of the esport, they were taken out of the game basically. But I knew they had the data of like, I'm in the minority here, so I can't really fault them.
I think I wouldn't mind seeing, I'm more of a Rocket League purist in that, like, seeing it as football, you know, you kind of have a sandbox and you get the creativity there. But I wouldn't mind seeing, the ones I don't like is like the curve, as you say, like Wasteland, where every bounce seems different. I still like being able to read, like, you know, you should be able to know, like in Rocket League now, where it's going to bounce and stuff. So I wouldn't mind just seeing maybe the dimensions change in it, you know, longer, wider, maybe add some obstacles or something, but just more like you still want it to be predictable. You know, you don't just want to random like, what the hell is that bounce, you know, on Wasteland.
And that's why the corners are the way they are, right? Like in Rocket League normal maps, they're not a curve because it's so hard to read every single bounce on that. Instead, it's like a curve and then it's diagonal and then a curve. A lot easier to read bounces that way. And I think they did test. I can't remember if they actually did in the alpha, But in the first game in SARP, they were more curved, and it was just like, oh, we need to make more walls flat, basically, so people can read these bounces. And then they did the complete opposite with Wasteland, which I was very appreciative of because I was so happy that they were bringing those maps back. But they just began on like the wrong type of map. Like I think, like a double goal. Like if they change that slightly, I think that is the type of map that's pretty good. But you have to do like less drastic things in general, like or even a map that just has like a really big net, and it's gonna be a high scoring game or something like that, or just things like that. But yeah.
Yep. You got to sort of ease people into the non-standardness. I agree, rather than going crazy. I got one here from Spross, which I'm interested in. You had your thoughts on Rizzo's career. He wants to know what were your thoughts on my career, and also what were your thoughts on Johnny Boy's show match performance.
Johnny Boy, it's funny. He has a confidence about like how he plays Rocket League, and I credit him for that. That's about all I can credit for him for. The show match didn't really go his way, and also his kickoffs. He always complains about kickoffs, but he was turning upfield, and that was always my one gripe with Johnny Boy was he would complain when people didn't go back to the net, and I'm like, the other team's not going back to the net, and they scored. There's two-way street here, and then he doesn't do it, and I was like, I don't know about that. But honestly, if we want to be critical of anyone, you got to be critical of Rizzo in that match. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It wasn't the greatest performance. Now I know he wasn't grinding, so I get it. But come on, I mean, like,
what did I do to you, man? No, clearly there's something. I don't know what it is.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But okay. CJ, your career, OCE.
Why is he laughing hard. So hard?
I feel like people always have like this. Oh, it's finally going to be OCE's time. I'm sorry, guys. It's just not the case. It just doesn't. It's just not going to happen. Maybe it will eventually, but I have lost all hope in all of OC until they.
I mean, you see glimpses, with Gen G.
You get one upset win, but you need two. You need to, or at least just make it to the 2-2 round and then do your upset win. There's possibilities there, sure, but I've given up all hope, and I'm just like, so every time they play in a 2-2 round, I want to see them win, but I don't expect it at this point. And I know a lot of other people have hopes and dreams and all that. Well, I squash all that. All right. It's not going to happen. All right. It's just not going to happen until it does. So you as a player, you're great off the field. I'll say that. All right.
This guy never has any positivity, does he? He just
he craps on people with disabilities. He says the internet's so negative nowadays, and this jackass is here.
Look at this guy, the grandfather of the internet, just shitting on everyone.
I was very happy every time you got eliminated because you would join the casting team. So
that's a compliment, I think.
It was fun.
I don't know if it is in terms of my gameplay, but I appreciate it. I'm glad we got that. Johnny asked, JB wants to throw a Patreon question in here. Should Rocket League add a Swift Play mode? Now, Gibbs, I don't know if you're aware of Swift Play, but in League of Legends, there's a new mode called Swift Play, which is get rid of champ select. You pre-select your champ, pre-select your role, and it puts you straight into the game. It's faster paced. It's fantastic. I don't know what Rocket League would add. I guess if there was Swift Play in Rocket League, I guess it just means you're queuing every mode. And there's a time limit less or something? Is it like
no? I think what would happen is like the goal would get bigger and bigger throughout the game. That would be my guess.
And it's one goal games. So
yes, one goal games. Goal gets bigger. That's genius. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's actually not bad. That's
fire.
Not bad. There you go. So you just load immediately. Like, well, the problem is matchmaking would take a little bit, but yes, you would load into your next match and just go, and that'd be great.
That'd be great. So you love it.
Yeah. One goal games.
I do love it. But to go back on a previous point, car hitboxes. People complain about them all the time nowadays. The reason why they changed was because people complained back then about car hitboxes.
Yeah, but it's different now.
Changed.
It's different now.
That's the thing.
Give me different turning radiuses.
People complain
about different hitboxes.
New formats. People complain. Doesn't matter.
I don't care. Give me pay to win cars. I'll buy it. No, I won't. I'm not even playing, but. Maybe it'd bring me back if I had a pay to win
when
car.
We queue up together, I want to see you in the newest car. All right, so let's do it.
All right, I'll make that happen.
Oh, great point. Just back to you saying OCE is dead. I've been streaming, playing a bit of ranked. Guess who I played with yesterday? Guess who invited me while I was playing? Drippe. I've been playing ranked twos with Drippe.
It's back. Here we go.
We are back. We're under retiring. If he's back, I'm back. I mean, can you believe it? It's been like 5 years. The guy's back on ranked playing twos, and he's still got it. Still one of the most purest strikers, finishers in Rocket League. He's still got it. He's like K-Dop 2016, 17, 18.
I do feel a little bit bad about him because I did hate on him a lot when he came to NA.
How dare you?
I did.
No, seriously, dude.
His defense was not that great, and like, I don't mean to be this negative, but like, there were times when I was like, I should be more positive about Drippe, but I just couldn't.
He was thrown to the wolves. How do you play with corrupted GM Classics? What do you want from that team?
I completely
Drippe
agree.
with 2 coughing babies. Like, to give him a better... He could have joined NR or G2, NRG, whatever. Chicago. Oh, they picked Turbo instead.
No, that
anyway,
was us.
It is what it is.
Well, I don't know if Drippe was going to NRG. That was us, though. We were looking at Drippe.
I think he tried with NRG as well.
Okay.
And you went with Chicago.
Yeah.
And then NRG went with Turbo because they're having more fun with him.
He should have shown up on what is it, tryouts. I actually don't even remember if we tried out with him, to be honest. I can't remember.
You just thought about it. I remember Jarzo being like, I'm going to mastermind an international transfer. He just didn't get anything.
Just didn't do it.
Bring him back, though. Anyway.
All right. Well, I think that's about it. That's a great time to wrap up our show. We appreciate Gibbs for joining us. Thank you so much. If you guys missed any part of the podcast, be sure to check it out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. And also check out the Patreon, patreon.com/chalkcast. And we will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.
See you later. W at bringing back perma host. Woo!